There we go. Can't hear myself. Could be age, it could be the microphone, I don't know. All right, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you here today. As always, we're glad you've decided to bless us with your presence, whether it's here, whether it's out there in Zoom world, later on Facebook or YouTube. We're always glad to see you. Just so everybody knows, we know it's daylight savings time and we sprung forward this morning, so you know what that means. Everybody here and everybody on Zoom who made it on time, you get extra Jesus points, right? There you go. All right. All right, so today we're going to finish up our short series on the Jesus Alternative Plan, based in part on Father Richard Rohr's book, Jesus Alternative Plan, the Sermon on the Mount. And before we get to those final 3 be happy attitudes, we know there's a review, right? Always a review. And for today's review, I've decided to try something a little different. I know sometimes I can get a little heavy and a little academic with stuff, so I'm going to do a little bit of freestyle this morning, or at least what I call freestyle. So what follows is a summary of the first 5 Beatitudes that we went through, and I call it a remix of the Be Happy attitudes. And a word of warning here, there may be a few words in here that might be a little triggering, and if some of those words trigger you, all I ask is that you stay with me. All will be well. You ready? Here we go. Happy are those who are comfortable in their own skin, who appreciate, yet who do not require the validation of others, who know that we are all expressions of God because they know that is one way that we experience heaven on earth. Happy are those who are not afraid to express their grief in healthy ways, even if it means crying in public, because they know those tears are healing and cleansing and life-giving. And they know that through their grief, they experience understanding and empathy for others. And from this understanding and empathy, they experience comfort. Happy are those who are able to graciously enjoy their material blessings without getting caught up in the cycle of competition, comparison, and acquisition. For they realize that all things are impermanent, that our material blessings are all part of the flow of life, and in the end, we can't take it with us anyway. They will eventually receive an even greater inheritance, a spiritual inheritance, which will never and cannot ever be taken away. Happy are the woke. Uh-oh. He used the W word. Yep, happy are the woke, because as Jane Fonda recently said, and I quote, "Make no mistake, empathy is neither weak nor woke. And woke just means you give a damn about other people." If you're not a fan of Jane Fonda, let's try Pope Francis, who said, "Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruit. The sun does not shine on itself, and flowers do not spread their fragrance for themselves. Living for others is the rule of nature. We are all born to help each other, no matter how difficult that is. Life is good when you are happy, but much better when others are happy because of you." In other words, folks, happy are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they shall have their fill. Happy are those who are able to show mercy, those who are able to forgive not only others, but also themselves as well, because they understand that mercy, that forgiveness, like life, is a flow, and as we give, so shall we receive. And yes, they know that this is yet another way to experience heaven now. Okay, you're all caught up. That wasn't so bad, now was it? What's next? Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Well, now, so now we have to be pure in order to see God. Now, I don't know about you, but if that's really the case, I am in a lot of deep stuff right now. Then again, perhaps it all depends on how we interpret the word pure. Father Rohr reminds us that Jesus says that when our heart is right, our seeing will be right. So Jesus was tying heart and sight together. In Luke chapter 11, verse 34, we read, "The lamp of your body is your eye. When your eye is clear, your whole body is filled with light. Yet if your eye is diseased, your body will also be darkened." Or as Father Rohr says, all we need to do is keep the lens clean. So what we're looking at here is a healthy self-perception and how we set our intentions, why we do what we do. So what does that look like? How do we do that? Well, this is building on some of the Beatitudes that we have just talked about, some of those characteristics, right? Healthy self-perception means we're comfortable in our own skin. We see ourselves as we are. We see ourselves as expressions of God. We affirm our full humanity and our full divinity, and we do it for other people as well. We're all expressions of God, so are they. Through our grief processes, we learn empathy for others. We're grateful for and we're good stewards of all of our blessings. Why? Because we know it's all on loan. We want for others the same things we want for ourselves. We want things like justice. We want peace. We want healing and love. Not only for ourselves, we want it for everybody. We forgive others and we forgive ourselves freely and without expectation. So if I need to forgive you for something, that doesn't mean you owe me. And if you forgive me for something, that doesn't mean I owe you, freely and without expectation. When we're able to do these things, we're better able to see all that is good and beautiful, holy, just, and loving. Our eyes are clear. Our sight is clear. We're better able to see God. And that clear sight has a positive impact on our intentions. When we're clear about who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it, that is our purity of heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be recognized as children of God. Fun fact, did you know that this is the only place in the entire Bible that the word peacemakers is used? Only place. I didn't know that either until I started reading for this talk. So what's a peacemaker? It is not a weapon. One definition is it is a person who reconciles quarrels. Pretty straightforward, right? Makes sense. And Father Rohr points out that there is no way to peace other than peacemaking itself. In Jesus' time, and Jesus would know this, his followers would know this, in their time, they had something called Pax Romana, or the peace of Rome. You know what that is? Peace of Rome means that as long as you did what Rome says and you did it without question, there would be peace. Step out of line and there's no peace for anybody. It's kind of like we say in the South, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Rome just took it to a whole other level. And Jesus, with this beatitude, is calling BS on that definition of peace. And he's not alone. Albert Einstein is quoted as saying, peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. Ronald Reagan said, or is quoted as saying, peace is not absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Again, as Father Rohr says, there is no way to peace other than peacemaking itself. So what does that look like? Well, we go back to all those Beatitudes we've been talking about. To be a peacemaker, you need to have a healthy sense of who you are, a healthy sense of your intentions. You need empathy, clear sight, pure intentions. What that means is we need a lack of a self-serving agenda as much as possible. Because we all have a little bit of self-interest in whatever we do. I don't care who we are. We all do. And that's normal. That's human. But we need to keep a check on that if you want to be a peacemaker. And that's hard work. So maybe that's why so many people and governments go the whole Pax Romana route. You know, the old eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth route. But what did Martin Luther King Jr. say about that? He said, if we do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, we will be a blind and toothless nation. That is, people like Dr. King and our master teacher Jesus realized that without real peacemaking, at least an attempt at it, the cycle of violence will simply continue, and not only continue, it will escalate. Now look around the world today and tell me they're wrong. So perhaps what Jesus is saying here is that the real heroes today, the people we should really be looking up to, are not the powerful men and women and governments who go around thumping their chest and threatening war and annihilation and retaliation if they don't get their way. But the people we should be looking at as heroes and emulating are those who are able to enter into this chaos and work to bring about real peace in our relationships, in our communities, in our country, and in our world. This kind of peace has a name too. Father Rohr calls it Pax Christi, the peace of Christ. Pax Christi works for true peace by sacrificing the false sense of power, prestige, possessions, and security promoted by Pax Romana. And since, as Father Rohr says, there's never going to be a national policy of any country that's Pax Christi, no country is going to do that, such peacemaking will never be popular. So for those of us who seek to follow these challenging teachings of Jesus, will always be in the minority. So let's get comfortable with it. Because that's never going to be the national policy of any country according to Father Rohr. Now just imagine, remember our context, Matthew's audience is very middle class. Just imagine you're a middle-class person and you're feeling very secure in where you are and, you know, all of this and your country and all your possessions and stuff. And hear this. Can you imagine how they felt? How are some of us feeling right now? It's challenging. It's hard work. Blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be recognized as children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted in the cause of justice. The reign of God the reign of heaven is theirs. Blessed are those who are persecuted in the cause of justice. The reign of heaven is there. Well, there's that annoying word justice again. Anyone else seeing a pattern here? It's a bookend. We have justice again. And remember the first beatitude, the reign of heaven is theirs, present tense. Final beatitude, reign of heaven is theirs. Justice and the reign of heaven. Father Rohr points out that persecution of believers during this time, when Jesus was talking, persecution of believers has begun. And Jesus is telling them, and by extension us, to be happy about that. What in the world is wrong with Jesus? Why should we be happy? Here's what I think. When we support doing the right thing for as many people as possible, just because it's the right thing to do, again, what today some people call being woke, and I'm just going to go off script here and go ahead and say it. Jesus was woke. All right? There have been actually stories printed in the last few months about ministers in conservative evangelical churches who have gotten up and preached the Beatitudes and being accused by their congregations of being woke. Folks, I'm going to tell you this. If people have a problem with these teachings, it's not the teachings they have a problem with, it's Jesus they have a problem with. I'm going to go one step further. And if they have a problem with Jesus, maybe they should just go and follow the words of that old hymn, have a little talk with Jesus. Go talk to Jesus about it. When we support doing the right thing for the right reason, for as many people as possible, there are going to be people that don't like us. They're going to call us all kinds of names. Some of these people are going to get downright angry. And some may want even to take out their anger on us and others. And if not literally, physically, then verbally. Or they may try to convince their elected officials to pass oppressive laws, which promote that whole Pax Romana thing I was just talking about. You do what I say and don't question it or else. That is not peace. What I think Jesus might be saying here is when stuff like that starts happening, and it is, when we see stuff like that beginning to happen, maybe we're actually starting to get it right when we stand up for others. And we can be happy about that. Why can we be happy about that? Well, here's what I think. When we're able to have a healthy sense of self, when we can grieve and celebrate everything that life brings our way, when we realize that both the blessings and the challenges of life are all part of the flow of life and neither lasts forever, when we want the same thing for other people that we want for ourselves, love, peace, healing, and justice, when we can forgive ourselves and others freely, when we can live peacefully as possible, because it's not always easy, but when we can live peacefully with people and make peace with people as much as possible, regardless of what family or friends or our churches or any other powerful people on this planet might say or do, that, my friends, is where real happiness comes from. That's when we begin to see God. That is when we begin to experience heaven on earth. At least that's what I think Jesus is saying with this. So, final assignment for this series. Reflect on this question. Jesus seems to imply that living by the happy attitudes, by doing that, we can experience true happiness, that we can see God, we can experience heaven on earth now. What do you think? Can we do it? And if you agree that we can, at least occasionally, it's hard work, but at least occasionally, if we can do this, if you agree, what does living by the happy attitudes look like for you? That's the assignment. What does living by the happy attitudes look like for you? Think about it. And live as the blessed person and people that you are. Be the love. Be the peace. Be the blessing. Be you. And so it is.